your boy D Neal, back with another reaction video. We are back with one of our favorite YouTubers, Nalf. 8 underrated things about life in Germany. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. What we got?
Okay, everyone knows about the things Germany is famous for being good at. Germany has great beer. Germany has great cars. Germany is really good at soccer, or they used to be. But in this video, I'm going to talk about things about life in Germany that I think are underappreciated or underrated. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Talk to me now.
The absolute vastness and rich history that is just commonplace in day-to-day life here in Germany. Right now I'm sitting on the steps of a church that's from the 12th century. And I feel like people that are from Germany really sort of take this for granted. And even I started to take it for granted after living here for a few years. I remember when I first came here, I was just awestruck by how old some of these buildings were and how much history there was on the things that I was walking around on. But you do get used to it. And it's only once I started to read some Ken Follett books like The Pillars of the Earth, which is about the making of a cathedral, that I really started to reappreciate just how crazy it is that there's this insane history all around us. This behind me here, the Kloster Kronberg, which is a former monastery, originated in 1078. It's over 1,000 years ago. So, and I feel like it's kind of taken for granted for and pretty underrated here in Germany.
Nah, that's definitely insane, man. Those buildings are absolutely incredible, and I can see how you can start to take it for granted after being there for a while, because you're so used to seeing it. You don't really think too much of it at a certain point. But as someone who freshly moves over there and sees these buildings, and it's like, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely amazing. They're absolutely incredible. And I'm glad that he read the Pillars book that made him reappreciate it all.
This culture of when people buy a home, they buy a home for life. In the United States, I feel like there's this culture and attitude of people buying starter homes, which is a home that you're buying that you know you're not going to live in forever, that maybe you're actually going to only live in it for a couple of years. Whereas I feel like the idea of a starter home doesn't really, generally speaking, exist in Germany. When people are building or buying a house, they have the attitude and mindset that this is going to be my home for life. And I feel like the American mentality when it comes to home ownership is very stressful, and it kind of is a nice metaphor for American culture as a whole. It's always about, okay,
we do move so much.
Okay, leveling up. Okay, what's next? Leveling up. Which I think is a very American mentality in a lot of aspects of life. So I feel like this mentality of this house being a home for life gives a person a sense of peace and security, whereas the American mentality when it comes to homes often is sort of a stressful one, and one of anxiety and always leveling up and not settling and finding peace. So I think this idea and mentality that Germans have when it comes to homes is very underrated.
Completely agree. Completely. With the way he explained America, we move so many times and you're always like leveling up. I do like that German mentality of getting a home and this like being like your home for life. I do love that. But I also love the leveling up mentality too, because if you do start to make more and sometimes you start having more kids and everything, and you need a bigger home or you need more space, and if you have more money or anything, why not? So I like both mentalities.
Behind China, Russia, and Brazil, Germany has the most neighboring countries bordering it in the world. And this is not something to be overlooked. In the United States, we border Mexico and Canada. We do not have such close and easy access to other cultures. The fact that people grew up in Germany, in the heart of Europe, with access to 9 different countries on its border is really an incredible thing. Being able to drive 2 hours and be in France, drive 1 hour and be in Switzerland, or go east and drive and be in the Czech Republic, or up north to Denmark, it's a really valuable thing. I was just talking to a former teammate of mine on the Unicorns, and he talked about how, yeah, the first time he left Germany to go to a different country was probably before he could walk, and he'd been going to different countries in Europe that spoke different languages all growing up. The first time I went to a country that spoke a different language than mine was when I came to Germany in 2016.
Wow.
This is
That's
totally
not surprising.
underappreciated by people that live in Germany and grew up with this. Very underrated.
Now, the next point... Oh, sorry, one sec. My brother's FaceTiming.
That's definitely a great point that he brings up right there. It's so awesome to have so many different countries bordering to be bordering so many different countries. Yeah, as an American, you border too, and so you really don't travel to those two. Most Americans don't travel to those two. So it's like you said, the first time he moved to a country that didn't speak his language was coming to Germany. So and that's really how it is.
What's up, Nalf?
What's up, Ant? How's it in California?
It's good, but I really miss German Netflix. It's such good stuff on there.
Oh, you should be using CyberGhost. You know you can
Let's get
access
the sponsor.
9,000 servers in 90 different countries. You'll be able to get different content based on the country that you choose. That's how I watch Yellowstone here in Germany. Anthony, it's a world-leading VPN. It's literally the number one. Whatever, you can just use my account. One account can be used on up to 7 different devices. I really recommend CyberGhost VPN. Not only is it a great product for you, but it also helps support me and my YouTube channel if you use the link in the description. So check it out below. All right, back to the video. The diversity of both the humans and the geography in Germany. This is a very underrated aspect of the country. When I first came to Germany, I just thought, oh yeah, German people, they're all the same. They're the same in the north, they're the same in the south. Germans are Germans are Germans. Now after living here, I am shocked that this is one country. Look at the map of the Holy Roman Empire.
God.
That is the diversity of different people and culture in Germany. It's still very alive and present today. I would honestly say that people in the southern Bavaria are much more culturally close to Austrians than they are culturally close to people up way far in the north of Germany. And I'd say these northern Germans that are way up near the border of Denmark, they're closer to Danes than they are to Bavarians in terms of culture. And so I feel like just this line that's drawn around Germany as the border for Germans is almost arbitrary, and there's just a wild range of diversity when it comes to people and cultures in Germany. Germans are very different across the country. And in going with that, there's also a diversity of landscape and geography that I think doesn't get talked about when people speak of Germany. Everyone just thinks, oh yeah, Germany looked the same all over. No, you go to southern Germany, you've got the mountains, the Alps. You go to the southwest, you've got the Black Forest. You go up to the north, you've got the ocean, you've got different beaches, you've got like the islands, Silt. And then you go over into the east and you've got what they called Saxon Switzerland, which is basically this different type of landscape geography, rocky climbing areas. In the west again to the Rhine River Valley. I mean, there's just different types of landscapes and geography all over Germany, and it's got a wide array of landscapes that I think is very underrated.
All of those landscapes and geography were absolutely gorgeous to see. But did you see that map of so much differences? What do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Alright, y'all know the word. It starts with a D too. I can't think of it. My brain shut off. He said it, but so much differences in Germany. Diversity. So much diversity in Germany, and it's still like that today. That was insane.
How walkable Germany is, and not just small towns here like Schwäbisch Hall, but also even some of the bigger cities, like even Stuttgart is so much more walkable than cities in the United States. And this is just a natural thing for people that grew up in Germany. Of course, the city is made for people, human beings, to walk around, not for cars. But I feel like it's a very underrated thing because it's just so normal. So how walkable cities, towns, and villages are is very underrated.
I feel that.
So in Germany, when there is standstill traffic on the Autobahn, all the cars move off to the sides and create an alleyway in the middle of the road. This is known as a Rettungsgasse, which literally translates to rescue alley. And it's so that emergency vehicles can still get through easily and quickly when there's standstill parking lot style traffic. Now, of course, in these situations when there's such bad traffic, nobody's in a good mood. Nobody's happy about that. But everybody knows and buys into this idea like, hey, I'm annoyed, it's horrible traffic, but I'm going to move off to the side and we're going to create this lane in the middle for emergency vehicles to take care of people if that needs to happen. We're not taught to do this in the United States, and I feel like it's underrated that people do this all the time without fail in Germany.
And that legit just makes sense. It legit just makes sense. I don't know why we don't do this. I don't know why we do not do this, but that's smart. Like, yes, create an alley for emergency vehicles to come through. Certain situations, like if like a 3-lane or 2-lane turned into 1 lane, then I guess it really wouldn't work because everybody got to get through that 1 lane. But like if there's an accident or anything, this makes sense. I think the emergency vehicles come on like the side of the cars, like in America, like on the right, just all the way down the right side. I'm pretty sure, but I like that.
Yesterday I was on a walk and I saw a group of 4 really young children. They were maybe 3-4 years old. And they were out riding little bikes and walking with each other. And I was waiting for a parent to come around the corner because obviously kids this young are not out riding their bikes and walking on their own. And I waited and then I realized there was no parent or adult with them. These are just 4 young little kids out enjoying the town, and it is totally normal and totally safe. This is something that you just really would not see in the United States, and to my American brain, it is still very shocking to just see young children roaming about on their own. I feel like this is an underrated aspect of life in Germany, that this is just able to be a totally normal and safe thing.
I love that. I love that.
In Germany, you cannot drive a car until you're 18, but you can drink beer at 16. In the United States, you can drive a car at 16, but you can't drink beer until you're 21. It's very underrated that Germans do it this way. My dad worked in insurance for a long time, and so he knew the statistics about young drivers getting in accidents. All of us young kids getting our driver's license at 16, he knew there was a very high percentage chance that we would get in an accident in the first 12 months of having a driver's license at this age. And lo and behold, all 6 Alfieri kids got in some sort of accident at different levels within the first year of having the driver's license. I don't know the German statistics off the top of my head, but I'm assuming that a smaller percentage of drivers in Germany get in an accident in the first year of having your license, just simply because your brain is slightly more developed at 18 than it is at 16.
True.
Driving a car is much more dangerous and such a greater responsibility than having a beer. And I feel like in the United States, we have it a little bit mixed up. We think driving a car is safer than drinking a beer. So I'm really a fan of how Germany handles these 2 topics at these different ages, and I think it's a very underrated aspect of life in Germany.
I definitely agree, but I also do feel like in Germany, a car is not as much a necessity as it is here in America. And so, like you said, you can walk around almost everywhere in all of the cities, and you can get by with public transportation. We really don't have those options, and so it's like you almost got to get a car. But I definitely understand what he said, and I feel like, I mean, also insurance. I mean, every accident you get, they get to bump your monthly prices up, and I'm sure they love that. But I feel that driving a car is definitely a lot more responsibility.
German infrastructure. Germany is commonly ranked as the #1 country in the world when it comes to infrastructure. I'll just tell you, driving on the roads in Germany is a very pleasurable experience. Driving on the Autobahn is great. Hardly ever any potholes. The roads are in pristine conditions. And I actually really noticed this even more when I was driving out to Cody and Speedy's house the other day. They live outside of Schwäbisch Hall, and you have to drive on a bunch of back roads to get there. Not prime roads that are, taken care of all the time and have construction all the time. And even these back roads are just pristine. I will say German construction seems to take quite a long time. There are a few construction projects here around Schwäbisch Hall that they've been working on my entire time here and seem to have made little to no progress. However, when they do finish projects in Germany, they do it well and they do it to last. I think if you want to really appreciate German roads and German infrastructure, leave the country and go drive on some other ones. I feel like if you grew up in this system, this is just what you know and this is the standard. So even though it is literally ranked #1 in infrastructure, I feel like people do not really appreciate that. It's undervalued and therefore it makes my list of underrated things about life in Germany. All right, guys, that is all for today. I want to give a shout out again to the sponsor of today's video, CyberGhost VPN. Awesome product that I use every.
Shout out CyberGhost. Shout out one of my favorite YouTubers now. I get to learn a lot of Germany through him. Also be entertained. But that's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy Neal. Out.